If you've ever tried running a WooCommerce store, then you'll know that the shipping setup can feel a little bit clunky. I've been there spending half a day just trying to get the international shipping rates right, or dealing with a missing label whilst customers are emailing you saying, "Where's my package?" So in this video, I'm going to break down the best WooCommerce shipping alternatives in 2025. Tools that can actually make your life easier and save you tons of time, plus they'll make your customers really happy too. We'll look at what each tool does best, where they fall short, and the types of customer who should be using them. So let's dive straight in. Now, before we do that, let's just have a quick look at why you might need a shipping tool in the first place. Now, WooCommerce is great for managing orders, but its shipping features can feel really old-fashioned and clunky. And there are two main pain points that customers come into. Firstly, you've got storefront headaches, things like the checkout rates not matching what the carrier charges, or unclear delivery windows that really frustrate customers. Second, there's fulfillment chaos. Printing labels, tracking shipments, managing returns. All those time-consuming steps that don't really need to happen can cause loads of stress. Now, this video focuses on that second part, the fulfillment, because that's where these tools can make a massive difference. So let's have a look at some of the tools that I've tested or I've recommended by clients or that I've helped other people to use. So firstly, it is Shippo. Now, the first recommendation I usually come to is Shippo. Now, this is the one I recommend for most e-commerce stores who are using WooCommerce to manage their shipments. The reason is it has most of the features of all of the bigger platforms, but it's cheaper, it's quicker, it's more reliable, and it's much easier to use. It connects to all of the main carriers like UPS and USPS, plus international ones such as Royal Mail, Every in the UK, and ones across the whole world too. You also get discounted shipping rates, which is great because it saves you a bit of money. Now, other tools like ShipStation also have these discounted rates, but you don't get the advantages of using a cheaper platform like Shippo. Now, one of the main advantages about Shippo is it's got an amazing dashboard where you can create labels, do bulk labels, manage returns, and do everything, see the status of a shipment, all from one really nice, easy to use platform. Plus, you can create really good automations so that when you do start having multiple stores, multiple warehouses, multiple different packaging sizes, or lots of these other types of differences between your businesses, then you can use these automations to make things happen automatically. Now, the way that they set up their automations is using if and then functionality, which means it's super easy to get set up because you basically say, if something happens, then something else happens. Which means that, say you have a package which needs a heavy label after a certain weight, you can say if a package weighs over 10 kilograms, then use a certain packaging template, which includes using these heavy shipping labels. Now, this is going to save you loads of time in the long run. Now, one of the main reasons I like Shippo is, as I mentioned, it has nearly all of the functionality, but at a slightly lower cost. Plus, it's really easy to use. And it scales with your business as you grow. So it starts on a free pricing plan, which is amazing. And then as you grow, the pricing increases depending on the number of orders you have. So it's never going to be unaffordable for your business because it just grows with you as you grow. Now, the other main player in e-commerce shipping platforms is ShipStation. Now, ShipStation and Shippo have a lot of similarities. ShipStation is one of the oldest and most established softwares, and it really is aimed at bigger businesses. The difference between Shippo and ShipStation is a lot of the functionality on ShipStation is quite detailed, but it's really unnecessary for most of the businesses. Their automations go into a lot of depth and they are quite complex to set up. That's not to say they aren't good, it's just for most size businesses, it's a bit unnecessary. Now, both ShipStation and Shippo enable you to do branded returns labels, but with ShipStation, you are able to access slightly deeper reporting, slightly deeper analytics. However, with Shippo and ShipStation, they both integrate really nicely with things like Amazon, your Shopify platform. But one thing that Shippo does really well is integrate with Etsy so that you can put in all your Etsy orders. Now, for me, that's great because I sell a lot of handmade style products. So when I'm selling my products through Etsy, I love to be able to connect it to Shippo so that I can track all those orders in one place. Now, next on the list is EasyShip. Now, EasyShip is again one of the more established partners to have for your e-commerce shipping software. Now, one of the main things that EasyShip does is it helps you to understand that landed cost at the end. So the customer can see exactly what the landed cost is going to be. This means that they can see the price, including the duties, the taxes, all of those things. It tries to specialize in international shipments. So if you are sending a lot of shipments abroad, then it can be a good thing to use. However, it's got terrible ratings on Trustpilot. It's got 1.9 stars out of 5, with a lot of people complaining about downtime, poor customer support, errors being made, like the software just breaking sometimes. So I'm not sure if it is the most trustworthy partner for you at the moment. The pricing is pretty much in line with what Shippo and ShipStation do as well, so I probably wouldn't recommend it. I'd look at Shippo or ShipStation depending on how deep you need those automation rules. Next on the list is SendCloud. Now, SendCloud is one of the biggest shipping partners in Europe. And it does focus, to be honest, mostly on the European marketplace. Now, it does do a really good job of doing shipments throughout the European Union, so it really understands that complexity that can happen between shipments between European Union countries. But if you're not only focused on Europe, it might feel a bit limited, because whilst it does send internationally, it clearly does do most of its focusing on Europe. Now, it includes a lot of other tools, such as like the tracking pages and the self-service returns portal. And one of the really nice things about it, it has a really lovely looking checkouts widget, which you can install directly into your website, which I think looks really good. But it is a bit more expensive. It doesn't have a free tier, and it starts at $33 a month, going up to $799 a month. So it's quite a lot more expensive than Shippo and ShipStation's starter prices. Number 5 on the list is AfterShip. Now, AfterShip started just as an order tracking system, and it still does that really well. But what it's moved into now is it focuses a lot on sending quite trendy products. It has integrations with TikTok Shop and Shine, so it's really nice for sending products if you are doing those sort of shipments. Now, the downside is it has a lot less features than Shippo or ShipStation or any of the other tools on this, because it is mostly focused on the order tracking. Whilst it does do the order management as well and the package creation, it is a bit lighter than the others. So to me, it feels more like the sort of brand you'd use if you're a startup or just sending 1 or 2 orders a month. Like, it really doesn't look like it's going to be very scalable compared to something like Shippo. Having said that, the pricing is quite cheap. It's only $10 a month per user. So if you are just starting out and you want to just test one of these tools, then AfterShip can be a great one to try. And the last one we're going to look at is Plugin Hive. Now, Plugin Hive is actually a plugin directly for your WooCommerce site, so you can install it directly into the website. Plugin Hive's pricing works more on an annual basis, so you pay money per year, so starting at $59 up to sort of $299 per year for your plugins. Now, it's really great for smaller sellers who want something that is native to WooCommerce. Their support seems really good. They respond to everything really quickly, and everyone's got really good things to say about them. But again, it is quite light. If you are literally just looking for labels to be printed and you want access to the discounted rates, then it can be really good. But if you want any more in-depth tracking or any label creation or any returns portals or anything like that, it doesn't really do those sorts of things. It just creates labels within your WooCommerce site. So if that's all you want to do, then it's a really cheap way of doing it. But if you are looking for something a bit more in-depth to help you track those orders, then you should be looking at a tool like Shippo or ShipStation. Now, before you decide exactly which tool you want to use, you have to look at how you're going to migrate over to the new platform. So before you start, have a look at auditing your product data. You want to make sure that you've got all the weights right, the package dimensions right, so that you're not overpaying for the right packaged service. Also, have a look at your workflow and have a look at some of the features on some of the new tools. You might be able to automate some of the things that you're manually doing at the moment. Then you can run some test shipments. You might not be paying the right rates, you might be overpaying. So if you run some test shipments with some of these tools, especially the ones that have free plans, you can see how much the charges are going to be. Once you've decided on a new tool, you'll then need to make sure your team knows exactly how to work, and you'll need to create new SOPs for using those tools. And most importantly, you need to work out how you're going to track it all. Now, this is one of the reasons I like to use a tool like Shippo or ShipStation, because their tracking is amazing, their reporting's perfect. It shows every single order on the main page, and you can easily create labels, batch create labels, work out the status of an order, create returns, shipments, all those sorts of things. Plus, they have in-depth automations to help you automate anything that you don't need to be doing manually. Now, if you're really a big business and you've got a team who already understands the ins and outs and the complexities of shipping management, then ShipStation can be a great tool to use. But if you are maybe starting out, or you have a smaller team, or you want something that's a bit more simple but still has nearly all of the features of ShipStation, then Shippo is going to be a great tool for you to choose, because it includes nearly all of the features of ShipStation but at a cheaper rate with a simpler interface, plus it's less complex to use as well. The automations are really easy to get set up, and you can create them without any prior knowledge at all, really, just by understanding how your workflow works. Whereas ShipStations feel a bit more complex. It feels like it's more designed for businesses that already have full shipping teams and need that really deep automation. So that's it. Thanks for watching my reviews of my favorite e-commerce shipping tools. If you want to see more videos like this or more software reviews of shipping software, then make sure you subscribe to the Digital Merchant YouTube channel and like this video.